Okay, so fair warning, today's video is going to be a bit different, but I have some things I have to say, and I think they're things that most people creating content online just don't talk about. So today I want to talk about the things that no one tells you about content creation, kind of what our life is really like, especially for those of us like me who do it as a full-time career. I think what's going to make this really interesting too is that my content is kind of in a very unique space where I talk a lot about kind of the art of living well. So I talk about healthy habits, productivity, work-life balance, routines, all of that. But the problem is a lot of that is just naturally in contrast to what content creation looks like. So I want to talk to you about some of that balance and how I kind of talk about all of those things and try to live out those things in a career and in a field that doesn't naturally support those. Now, the nature of my job can make that hard, but I still want to share with you how I've striven to find balance. Of course, we'll talk about plenty of specifics too. I want to chat about my income, kind of some of the struggles that I've gone through, what keeps me creating, burnout, and so much more. So whether you're considering a career in content creation or just want to gain a better appreciation for what those of us who do create the content that you can see go through on a daily and weekly basis, I really hope that this gives you a bit more of an appreciation and perspective for what life is like. But with no further ado, let's get right into this. I'll begin with talking about what I like to call the myth of work-life balance. Something that I hear a lot when I tell people that I'm self-employed, that I'm a full-time creator, is that I must love how great the flexibility is for my job and how I can just work from anywhere. And the thing is, yes, that's true, and obviously that is a great benefit of being a creator, but the flip side of that coin and what people don't talk about is that that really comes at a cost. And that's that you never really get off work. I think a lot of people who are self-employed can relate to this. When your entire income depends on you and your efforts, it can be really easy just to always be taking on more and more and more work so that you can increase your income, build your business, your brand, all of that. And so that alone can make it incredibly difficult to have a good work-life balance and to not make your entire life your work. Then on top of that too, as a content creator, especially if you're in the lifestyle space or you're vlogging, what ends up happening is you're sharing your life online. And so a lot of the most fun and exciting things in life that happen to you, you feel all of a sudden like you need to document. So you go on a vacation to take a break from work, but then often you feel this weird tension, like either you need to create a video of the trip or document it and share it online in some other way. And then all of a sudden what was supposed to be a very restful time for you, time for you to stop work and to truly rejuvenate and refresh yourself, and then becomes just another opportunity to work. And yes, it might be in a beautiful location with stunning scenery, but at the end of the day, you're not getting the rest that you truly need, and it's probably why you went on that trip in the first place. That's probably a more dramatic example, but I do find that that's something that happens in smaller ways too on a daily and weekly basis. Keep in mind, I don't say that to mean it's inherently a bad thing either, just that it does make kind of finding that line where we're able to have a bit of separation between our work and our life makes it a bit more difficult when you have that tension there. At least for me, it's true that when I feel like I need to record absolutely everything that's going on, it does kind of diminish, at least somewhat, my actual enjoyment of whatever that thing is that I'm experiencing, whether it's the beautiful sunset, an activity that I'm doing. Not because I don't enjoy filming. I of course got into content creation because I love being able to capture those beautiful moments, but when you're filming, it really does divide your attention, so you're not able to pay 100% attention to whatever that thing is that you're trying to document. You're trying to enjoy the thing and to document it. And so it's a lot harder to be fully present and to fully enjoy something, which is just one of those tensions that you have to live with, and to find a balance as a content creator of how can I enjoy this as well as share it in a meaningful way, or perhaps to set boundaries and just kind of find some areas of your life that you just say, you know what, like I love sharing my life online, but at the same time, I want to have some things that are just for me that I can be fully present in and to fully enjoy. And so personally, I have created a lot of boundaries around just certain things that I don't really share a lot about, my friends, our church, things like that are really personal to me. They're very meaningful to me. And I feel like if I was trying to, record every encounter I had with friends or something like that, it would make it so that I wasn't able to fully invest in those relationships and in those moments, which is what I want to do. It's the same thing when I'm traveling. I want to share my travels. I love documenting my trips, taking pictures, making beautiful videos, all of that. It's so much fun, and I love going back and watching them. I literally was rewatching my New Zealand vlog the other day. I love it. But at the same time, I want to have boundaries too, so that I'm not just trying to create a memory to watch back, but I can actually make those memories too in the moment. I'm a big fan of the saying, work to live, don't live to work. And so for me as a creator, that's what that sometimes means is, putting the camera down and not documenting everything, not working all the time, and being really strict about setting boundaries in my life so that my work doesn't just creep into everything. And then kind of on a related note, let's talk about the toll of filming. Something I've been getting asked more and more recently is how filming really affects me. The longer I've done this, the more I've thought about it, the more I realize filming really does affect me. So hear me out on this one. It's not that I dislike it or necessarily find it hard, but I do find it to be a bit draining, especially on days where I have lower energy or if things are going on in my life where I'm just feeling more sad or depressed or there's just like sad news that I've been hearing. It can be really hard to show up online in a positive, uplifting way, which is how I do tend to want to show up on my videos. I want my face to hopefully be a bright spot in your day, but it can be really hard if I'm not mentally in that space to show up in that way online. I do feel like sometimes my emotions do kind of carry out as I'm filming. So that's kind of a piece of it, but then the other side of that too is that on days where I'm feeling great, I'm excited, especially if it's a video or a topic that I'm really just looking forward to sharing with you all, you do kind of get a bit of a high when you're on a roll and you just feel like everything is going so seamlessly, so smoothly, and that has its own level of excitement and energization, is that even a word, to it as well. So it is really one of those two sides of a coin things, and it really does have its exciting, its fun moments too, but that doesn't mean that it's always easy. Okay, but then while we're talking about the realities of filming, I just want to address one little thing that I don't think people always inherently recognize, and that's that when you're filming your life, especially if you're trying to get really creative shots or doing a lot of talking to the camera, it slows things down so much. And so in talking about the impact that filming has on my life, it's just one of those things that whenever I'm filming something, whether it's a day in the life video, a morning routine, whatever that might be, I just have to know that whatever it is that I'm trying to film, it's just gonna take longer. Sometimes it will be an extra third added to it. Sometimes it's literally double or triple the amount of time it takes normally to do something. And it really just depends on the way that I'm filming it, how much I'm talking, all of that. But any amount of filming is gonna take longer, and depending on how creative or how artsy of shots or of talking or whatever it is that I'm trying to do, it can take a lot longer. So you guys, the next time you watch one of my morning routines, know that that thing took hours for me to film. It might happen for me in an hour or two in a typical morning, but it probably took 4 or 5 hours at least to get all the shots I needed. And then just one last little note for this topic is just that creator burnout is a real thing, and it is wild how many creators I talk to who either are in the midst of experiencing burnout, who've gone through it, or who feel it coming on. It's really hard to always be showing up online, not just once, but as a creator, you're showing up on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. And that really does take a lot out of you because you're putting just so much of your heart and your life into it. So burnout is something that a lot of us deal with. I know personally, I went through a pretty intense period of burnout about this time last year. Unfortunately, I have made it to the other side now, and I do feel just refreshed and inspired and excited to create again. But there was a period of time where I was really struggling with that. So I guess the takeaway here is if you're watching this and just trying trying to learn a bit more about what life is like as a creator, have grace with your creators who might feel like they need to take a step back for a season, reduce the number of videos they're putting out, whatever it looks like for them, so that they can find rest and rejuvenation and hopefully come back from that burnout. And then if you're a creator too, make sure that you're actively taking time to rest in your life, to recharge, to find creative rest, and to make sure that you're building habits that are going to be sustainable for creating content, and that you're not just going, having no work-life balance and just steamrolling ahead towards burnout. Having been through it recently, I can tell you it is not fun, and if there are things that you can do, habits you can put in place to avoid that, I so incredibly encourage you to do that. And it's something that I really have put a lot of boundaries and habits in place so that I can prevent it happening again. Okay, but now let's talk about something I'm sure all of you are curious to know about, and that's money. Before we talk about how much money I make from YouTube, which don't worry, we're going there. But before we do, I just want to give a word of advice to any aspiring creators out there. And that's, don't do it for the money. I see people talk about content creation all the time as a great side hustle. You know what? It kind of sucks as a side hustle. That's just not how it works. Don't get me wrong, I make good money now. It's not insane money, we're very comfortable. But it did not start out that way for me, and it took years of creating content before I was able to make anything close to a full-time income from it. If I was to do the math on all the hours that I put in those first full 3 years of creating content online, I was making way less than minimum wage. So as side hustles go, it's just not a lucrative one. And if I can share any advice with you, it's to create content out of passion, not out of a desire for income. So thanks for hearing me out on that. It's something that I am super passionate about. But now I want to get specific with you all and share with you exactly how much I've made in each year of content creation. So I've been sharing videos consistently on YouTube for 6 full years now, which sounds a bit crazy coming out of my mouth. 3 of those years I was doing it part-time, really as a hobby, and then for 3 of those years I was doing it as a full-time creator. You can definitely tell when I made the switch, but keep in mind too, these numbers are all going to be my net income, so my income after any expenses, and there are a number of expenses involved in creating content, whether that's equipment, hiring contractors, and just different people that I've worked with over the years, and then also too, there are a number of different subscriptions and one-off purchases that are involved in creating content as well. But now let's talk numbers, and just to make this easy, I've kind of rounded up to the nearest $1,000 or $5,000, just depending on the scale of the numbers, just really to simplify things, but hopefully this gives you a pretty specific idea of how much I make in a year. Okay, so starting out, in my first year of content creation, I made a grand total of $1,000, which isn't too much, but it did help us to buy some groceries, so I guess that's worth something. Then in year 2, my income did go up a considerable amount. I made $10,000, so at that point, it really was kind of a decent part-time job. Then in year 3, I had another small bump. That year I made $15,000. And just for reference too, at the end of that 3rd year, I had about 50,000 subscribers. So it really wasn't, that small of a following that I had even back then, but I still was not making a ton of money from it. Okay, but then year 4 was when things really started to get interesting. Over the course of about a 3-month period, my following doubled in size from about 50,000 to over 100,000 followers. And that year, I really saw that reflected in my income. It went up to $60,000, and that's when I quit my other job and decided to go full-time with YouTube. Then in year 5, my income went up again as I began seeing more sponsorship opportunities. And that year, I made $85,000. And then finally last year was my biggest year yet. Through some really exciting brand opportunities and some videos that really took off, I was able to make $100,000 last year. And please hear me, I don't say this to brag in any way. I am so grateful for the income that I have and for the just very comfortable life that Christopher and I are able to lead because of this and the fact that I get to do this as a career. And I really don't take for granted the fact that you all enable me to do this. So just hear me, I am so grateful for that. And the reason I share this is really just because I feel like income is a very taboo thing in our culture and in our world. And I just feel like honesty and transparency in most things in life really is the way to go. And I kind of almost want to lead the way with this and maybe get a conversation and dialogue started, especially if you're interested in creating content as a career. Maybe this will help you just kind of get a better sense for some real numbers and what this could look like. Of course, these numbers are not just a universal guideline by any stretch. I do know a number of creators who have very similar channel sizes to mine who actually make a considerable amount more than I do, either because they post more frequently, they do more brand sponsorships, a whole bunch of different factors play into it. But I hope that this gives you just like a little glimpse or a little picture of what it can look like for content creators kind of at different channel sizes and all of that. So I hope that was helpful, but now let's chat a bit about the behind the scenes of content creation. And you guys, so much of my work happens off camera. Just to give you a little picture of what my life looks like when I'm not recording, editing my videos alone often takes me anywhere between 5 and 15 hours per video. So that's somewhere between 10 and 30 hours a week that I'm spending editing my content. And that doesn't even take into account the amount of time that I spend planning the videos, actually filming them, answering emails, doing admin, and there are a ton of other just small tasks involved in creating content. So it's a lot, and the thing is, it doesn't get any easier as your channel gets bigger. Because yes, you will get better and faster at editing. I have learned so much over the years, but your standards also go way up as well, or at least I know mine have. So it's like you're getting better and faster, but at the same time, your standards continue going up, and it just makes it so that rather than taking less time to edit and less time to do a lot of things just end up taking as much, if not maybe a bit more time. Which personally, I actually love editing, so most of the time I really don't mind it, but it is one of those things that you just need to factor in time-wise. Okay, and I really hope that this video isn't coming across as negative. I want to share with you the realities of being a content creator. On the whole though, it is a very positive experience. I really do love it. But we do need to talk about the one thing that I do genuinely dislike when it comes to, and it's not even actually about being a content creator, it's about being self-employed, and that is doing taxes. Let me tell you, it is not something that I signed up for when I started posting videos. So hiring an accountant the first year that I went full-time with YouTube really was one of the best decisions that I've made, period. Yes, I still need to organize everything for my accountant, but it is now so much less work than it was prior, and I just have a lot more confidence too that everything is being entered in and filed properly. That's just a little BTS perspective on my least favorite part of the job, and there have realistically been a handful of other struggles, or at least just challenges and obstacles that I've had to overcome as I've grown as a creator, and so I really want to talk about a few of those now. So first, when I was starting, let me just say, it is a massive learning curve. I think it's really easy for most people to put together a basic edit, but learning to edit well really is an art. And so one challenge that I faced was learning not just to edit, but to edit well. There are so many different kind of little factors and tricks and tips that I've picked up along the way, but if I was to distill just kind of like the concept of how I learned and how I actually got better at editing, it really is the saying that Matty Hapoya often uses in his videos, and that's just learn, make, and repeat. When it comes to getting better at creating content, the best way to do it is to learn a new skill or a new technique, to try it out, and then just to do it over and over and over again. And over time, your skill set will increase, your competency will increase, and editing, filming, all of the things will just begin to feel a bit more effortless, and you'll just build up your bank of resources, of tools, of techniques. So just continuing to learn, continuing to try new things has been really big for me. And then something else that I've really had to work through is seasons that I just wasn't seeing as much growth as I thought I should have, or as that I wanted, and really just trying to find my own during those seasons where I felt like my channel had plateaued. Because the thing is, my channel isn't the story of an overnight success. Yes, I have had periods where I did experience more or faster growth, but at the same time, it's been a very slow and steady race for me. What's cool about growing more slowly, and what I've kind of learned to appreciate over the years as I have gone through slower seasons with my channel, is to really embrace them and to use them as a time to grow as a creator, to grow grow personally, and often that almost prepares you to launch during some of those seasons where things just start rolling for you, you're growing, all of that. And that's something that I've really learned, is that growth on YouTube isn't just, this one line shooting up. I think a lot of us expect it to be, but what I've really learned is that with YouTube, a lot of times the way that growth happens is almost more so in waves. So you'll have some waves that really carry you forward, where your subscriber count, your views, all of that will go up really fast. And then other times where, when you're watching a wave in the ocean, it kind of draws back a little bit. Everything slows down. And that's something that you often see with YouTube as well. And so there is almost this like wave-like cycle of growth and then slowing, and then growth and then slowing. And for me, at least, it has always been in an upward direction, but I really learned to enjoy and to learn and to get value from both those seasons of growth and those seasons where things just come a bit more slowly. And then finally, kind of along those same lines, one just kind of final reality that I want to share of content creation with you all is that as a creator, often you really are trying to strike a balance between the things that you're passionate about, that you want to create videos about, and the things that that people are going to want to watch. And so personally, what I try to do, and what I would really recommend for any aspiring creators, is to try to figure out where there is alignment between what you love and enjoy creating content about, and what other people want to watch, and where you find alignment, try to create as much content as possible in that space. Lean into that overlap. That's really where you're going to find the most success. And that's a balance for sure, and honestly, there's always a bit of experimentation that's going on as well, where you're trying to figure out exactly where that overlap is, and sometimes you need to try a few different things to figure that out. But that is definitely something that I've learned, discovered over the years, and it, I guess, has been a challenge, but it's also one that I found a lot of success and just joy in creation in as well. Okay, but finally, I really want to end this on a positive note, because we have talked a lot about just the realities of content creation, some of the struggles, some of the challenges of it. It isn't all a walk in the park. Maybe this has given you a bit of a better understanding for that. But at the end of the day, I really just want to share with you all why I love content creation as a career, doing it as my job, and why I continue to choose it now, 6 years from when I first began posting videos online. I love the feeling that my videos can make a difference in someone's life or brighten their day. And honestly, it is one of the things that brings me the most joy, just being able to read some of your comments when you'll share that either you tried something I talked about in a video and it helped you in some small way. There are so many incredible messages that I've gotten over the years, and it really does just mean so much to me. And that really is a huge driving factor for me when it comes to continuing to create content. This really is one of the most rewarding jobs out there. And then also too, I'm a creative at heart. So few things really bring me more satisfaction and joy than putting a lot of work into a video and then watching it back and seeing how I literally created a beautiful piece of visual art from nothing. That is something that is just so cool to me that I honestly have a hard time wrapping my head around, even, especially with videos like the solo retreat I just did, my New Zealand travel vlog, some of my morning routines. I just love watching them back, and I really do just think that it's so cool that we live in an age where I'm able to create something like that from nothing. And so even just the process and the experience of creating too really is just so rewarding for me. So for me, it's about passion, it's about creative expression, it's about making a difference in the lives of others. And when you put all of those things together, it really is just such a fulfilling and such an exciting job that I get to do. And like I was saying earlier, I really do have each and every one of you to thank for it. And so just before I end this, let me say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making it so that I can have this life. Whatever challenges it has, the benefits of it really do so far outweigh the negatives. And so thank you so much for helping make that a reality for me. I started this as a hobby, and it is so cool to me that I get to do this now as my job. That's really everything that I have for you today. I know that this was a bit of a different one, but I really hope that you found this helpful or maybe interesting, informative, that it at least rounded out your perspective of what life is like as a content creator. If you do have any questions that I didn't really address here, feel free to pop them in the comments below. I would love to get back to as many of you as I can. I know this is just one of those things that, we watch creators all the time, but we don't always know what's going on behind the scenes. So I hope this helps just kind of fill in some of the gaps for you. But as always, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye!